welcome back to another episode from Another Point of View. Today we're going to have a very short and sweet episode. My name is Alice.
And I'm Agness. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about a documentary that both me and Alice watched recently. We did a little bit of a movie night. And we watched a documentary called Fashion Reimagined. It made a really big impact on both of us.
Yeah, so just to kind of, not to spoil it for you, I think everyone should watch it. So basically the documentary follows the creative director of Mother of Pearl, Amy Powney, and her journey of creating a fully sustainable fashion collection. And it was so eye-opening, but also like great reminder of things that we probably all have heard of, we kind of know of, but to actually see and hear facts.
Yeah, there's some really shocking statistics sort of throughout the documentary. But I really want to point out that it's not one of those documentaries that's all doom and gloom.
Yeah, true.
Because I feel like that's the kind of documentaries that I've watched up until this point when it came to sustainability and the climate and kind of everything that we are doing to the planet. And this was the first documentary that actually, not only does it have a glimmer of hope, but it kind of shows how things can be done and how the whole process can actually work. And it does take a lot of work and dedication. But it's also amazing to see someone that follows what they truly believe in through and through, regardless what everyone around her in the fashion industry tells her.
And any obstacle, just like pushing through.
And there seems to be a lot of obstacles.
Yeah.
And she says herself, like, the journey isn't easy, but it's doable. I think there's two things that I've sort of written down that really shocked me. First one was that 3 out of 5 garments that you buy within 1 year are going to end up in a landfill. 3 out of 5.
And that's all of us. That's not just like you sitting down and thinking now, oh, it's someone else. It's probably you as well. And me.
And I think it's like what comes down to it is realizing that even if we do take things to charity shops, just remember that not all of those things are going to be sold. And if they're really shitty quality, no one is going to buy it. So it's going to end up in a landfill.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. And the second one was that fashion produces over 100 billion garments a year. Like, imagine how much of a huge ginormous pile would that have to be. Like, I was shocked by that. And I've been working in fashion industry for 10 years. And I didn't even think that that was the case. Yet, when I think about it, and I think about when you go to Zara and things are there on literally daily basis. Think about the amount, and this is just one Zara. Think about all the other high street stores.
Yes.
How much garments is produced every single day? Like,
that just makes me think of like all the times that, you know, you've been shopping thinking, oh, I need something really quickly. Like, I have an event on the weekend. Let me just pop into somewhere like Zara or any other store or online, and then having like feelings of anger, thinking, oh, this is not like, I saw this last week already, like I need something new, I need something fresh.
We got so used to this whole kind of consumerism culture when it's just like more and more and more and new and new and new. Like, we don't even get ourselves a chance to appreciate what we have. Yet we are chasing another new thing and another new trend.
And I loved seeing in the documentary, like actually like visually seeing how many like people are actually involved in the process of creating one piece. And they gave like an example of a white cotton shirt, I think, and like counting how many countries it's been through, and just to kind of like come to your house, next day delivery. Like, it's so normal for us, but yet when you think of it, it's actually insane that can be.
Like, it was at the beginning when they said that the average sort of high street, let's say like a cotton shirt that we're talking about, has traveled through 5 different countries to get to your door. It's probably more traveled than most of us.
Yes.
Like, just that's mind-boggling to me.
The carbon
carbon footprint, the amount of places that it has to go from A to B, from like growing that cotton to then being transferred to another place for it to be made into a fabric, then from that fabric to be transported to another place to be made into the shirt, then to be sent to the, let's say, whatever designer that is or shop, then from there it's been sent into you. Like, we don't think about this chain
Yes.
of what fashion industry has created, and things literally travel globally.
Yeah.
The amount of things that travel globally, like, that's insanity.
And just to think, then you get it for like £20, and some people will say that's really expensive.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it puts things to perspective. I think if £20 is expensive, maybe you shouldn't be buying in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's like the harsh truth, because yes, we can like all make it like fluffy and cute of like, yeah, I'll just buy this one time, whatever. But I don't know, it really made me think of how much accountability we need to take for our own actions.
As a consumers.
Yeah. I do believe that brands need to take responsibility as well.
Absolutely.
But just as consumers as well, like the last month I've like tried not to shop. Like, maybe I've bought a couple of things on Vinted.
Yeah.
But I haven't really like shopped on the high street. And then I was on ASOS the other day, and that was after watching the documentary as well. And I was just like, I don't know, something inside of me has just really changed. And I think if we all tried to maybe have a month of like no buy rule and watch some documentaries, educate yourself, if we change just a little bit, it's going to have a huge impact
on the whole industry.
Yeah.
And I think it's our responsibility to, like what Alice says, educate ourselves and then learn. You do have to remember that behind every piece of clothing that you wear, there is a human being. There's loads of human beings, from growing this cotton into someone collecting it, into someone transporting it, into someone making whatever dress, top, whatever you're wearing, into the person that then, it's transporting that from A to B. Like, the amount of people that are involved behind this one piece of clothing, like, really reevaluate and rethink every purchase that you make. So I believe that documentaries like this should really be shown to kids at school.
100%.
To really open their eyes and sort of see outside of the box and reconnect with what we wear. And I think that sort of can be applied into everything else in your life. Whatever you purchase, just really think about it, buy less but buy better quality things that will last, so you don't have to keep repurchasing it. And it was also really interesting in a documentary when she sort of goes on this journey, and she's one of the first, I believe that Stella McCartney is sort of out there, but we're talking about sort of, I believe that Mother of Pearl is sort of a brand that you can save up a little bit and buy things from. Like, we went onto the website and the price point isn't crazy. And also what we were really surprised about is that they have a wide range of sizes.
Yes, that was one thing that I was like, I wouldn't say shocked about, because after watching it, we went on the website, like you said, and I was just like, yeah, surely it's just gonna be up to like medium or something. But it goes up to like, I think 18 size 8. Like, it's not like plus size, but I think it's a great start. Yeah, and then a lot of the things that can also be bought on secondhand, like Vestiaire and other.
And she really discusses, which I don't know if many people are aware of it, the difference between like the organic cotton and normal cotton. And I've learned working in the fashion industry how cotton is one of the most toxic fabrics that you can purchase.
Especially denim.
Especially in denim, because of the extra dyes and extra chemical processes that denim has to go through to become denim. But in general, the amount of pesticides that go into growing the crop, it's incredible. So
she mentioned how people can get like pretty severe health
like
conditions.
lung cancers and all sorts of diseases. So
the people collecting. So
also really, think about, obviously, it's really interesting because I was listening to her on a podcast, to Amy, talking about the documentary, and she said something really interesting. She says that it should be very transparent where the garment was made, where the fabric, and she also kind of suggests that what if we made, how you go into shops and you can see like this was made here, or this like, I don't know, berries come from this country.
Yes.
And you sort of know.
Yes.
She's just like, that's how it should be done when it comes to clothing. So like this cotton is from this place and then it was made in this place.
Yes.
And then it would be so interesting to see this journey. And I think that would maybe, I mean, I don't think if it's ever going to happen because obviously I think the fashion industry doesn't want you to be aware of that.
I'm hopeful, but we'll see.
It would definitely open your eyes,
Yeah.
learning like the whole process behind it.
And realizing how much greenwashing there is.
That's the other thing. I think sustainability has become... Because Amy's collection came out in 2000, and the Frills... No Frills collection came out during London Fashion Week in 2018.
Yes.
So that's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think for more than 5 years, like the greenwashing thing and the sustainability becoming such a trendy,
Yes.
like topic and trendy thing to just throw out there. And every brand is trying to be sustainable, and it actually makes me laugh when I see brands like H&M or Zara saying they are sustainable, or by this and this year they will be sustainable. I think Zara
Primark as well is saying that. Yeah. It's
like,
it's crazy.
do you know what sustainability means?
Well, it's because of lack of understanding in our society and a lack of knowledge. And, you know, I think a lot of people are talking about it, but it's such a like complex subject, and it's so...
But do you think they're talking about it because it's trendy, or do you think they're talking about it because they actually care?
I think there's people who actually care. Like I follow some people as well, and it's hard to listen, you know, like when you come back from work and you're tired and then you have to like be like, oh, this like negative, yes. So I think people just like also avoid thinking and like consuming that type of content, which
and ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. But I think, you know, if you don't educate yourself, then anyone like H&M and Primark coming and saying this is sustainable will make you feel a bit better about shopping there.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
if
it's
you know
just...
nothing about sustainability, you're going to be like, well, they're sustainable. They must know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
What were your like biggest takeouts when it came to the movie after watching it?
I think just all the facts, like I said, I probably knew of them, like kind of vaguely.
Yeah.
But to actually see it, hear all the facts, Amy's talking to a lot of the farmers, like who are collecting and the cotton and all of this. I actually teared up a little bit at the end where, was it the cotton farmer?
Oh no, it was the wool.
The wool.
The one from Uruguay.
Yes.
There's a farm that Amy ended up working with.
And then she invited them to come and see like what she's created with the things that they're providing her with. And he was like, you're the first person who invited me to see it. And I thought, oh my God, that's like... Imagine that feeling. He's probably...
Because it was also like a family-run farm that seemed like they had it for generations. And they were so extremely proud about what they were doing.
Yes. And it was beautiful, like such a beautiful moment. And another thing is, a lot of the times it seems like there's no way out of this, right? It seems like it's almost impossible to have sustainable collections. It's going to be too expensive, too unattainable for everyone. But this has kind of given me hope that, you know, it is possible at a reasonable price point. It's not going to be £20, unfortunately, but, you know...
But then I don't think anything should be £20.
Right, but, you know, you have to shift your mindset to understand that, you know, maybe paying £120 is just what it should be. Yeah, it's given me a lot of hope that it is possible, and she's proven it, and, you know, there are... actual ways of doing it, and I hope that brands will follow those footprints as well. Yeah.
I think for me, it was so many different things. I mean, obviously, I have to say, I've realized after watching the movie that the big reason why I have left fashion industry was because the fashion industry just didn't align with my core values anymore. I was seeing what was happening, and I was just like, I don't want to be part of this. But then I have to realize that I am a part of this. Like, I am still consuming. Yeah. Even though I'm not working in a fashion industry. But it's sort of like the fact that everyone should be educating themselves. Because I remember, like, 6 or 7 years ago when I first started getting interested in it. Like there was not that much out about it. Like people were not talking about it. I think Stella McCartney was the only brand in the UK that was like going in that direction and perceiving like the sustainable route. But it was not that much talk about it. But for me, I think coming from my background and being brought up in a home where clothes were made, my mum is a seamstress, I saw the whole process. So I think I related to clothes in a slightly different way that most people would.
Yeah.
But it also kind of like, you know, my eyes opened really early to seeing how much work it takes to make a garment. So when I moved to this country and I saw things being cheap, I was like, how can this cost this much money?
Yeah.
Like, because in the back of my head, like, I know that someone grew whatever, it was cotton, and then someone else collected it, and then someone else made a pattern, and then someone else stitched it, and then someone else packaged it, and it's just like the chain is huge, you know?
So many hands have touched it.
There are so many hands that touched it, and so that was one thing. And I think Amy points out in the movie how clothes is the only thing that got cheaper since she was a kid, rather than more expensive, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Like everything went up. And then after, you know, with the consumerism and with the sort of globalization, the clothes started to be made in third world countries.
Yes, right.
And that's why the prices went down. So the clothes got cheaper rather than more expensive. And you can see that. I mean, it's insane. I really love the fact that she really stands so strong.
Yeah, that was beautiful to see, because even like when she presented the collection to the buyers, there was such a resistance towards it. Like they said, oh, this is too expensive, like this is not gonna work. And you know, we've been talking about sustainability and like climate change probably for like the last 10 years, and to think that only in like 2018 that was the response, that was pretty crazy.
It's shocking. Yeah, she's actually in Paris and she has a showroom, and people come from, it's not only Europe, you know. I think there was like Bloomingdale's, and there's people from the US, and Shopper was there, I remember it, and probably Revolve. And and people are just not impressed. You know, she's put all of this work and all of this effort, and it was kind of sad to see that people are not really buying into the whole idea of sustainability, let alone into her collection. So I think just really watch it first of all. Realize that, you know, buying less and buying better should be something that's always at the back of your mind, whatever you purchase, if it's a fashion purchase or anything else.
Yes. Like really spend a little time thinking about it. Why am I buying this? What's the intention behind it? How many ways I can style it? Don't just follow trends and be like, I need this next thing just to feel cool, or like post something on social media. I think it will take like a lot, especially like people who, you know, that like it feeds your ego essentially, like, you know, having social media and like being cool or trendy or like fitting in and stuff. I think it's gonna take a lot for someone to actually make that change,
that perspective.
But at least try step by step. Do a little bit.
We need to like slow down. We need to just like take 100 steps back and be like, okay, let's just slow down. Let's not do this next day delivery thing. Let's think about it. When it comes to everything in life, I feel like we live in a culture when we just like run and rush and everything is fast. And I think like we really need to slow down, because I feel like when you do slow down, you're able to kind of think a little bit more clearly. 100%. And you're able to just like, like I said, think and like rethink whatever decisions are you making.
So if anyone wants to go down the path of educating themselves and, you know, finding out things, is there anything that you can suggest, like consuming, like podcasts or something?
I would say first and foremost, watch this documentary. Because I feel like every other documentary I've watched is a bit of a doom and gloom, and it might not be the best one to start with.
Depressive,
because they're like, it is like the more you learn and realize how fucking depressing this industry is.
Yes.
And it's not this glamorous thing that you like, that we've been perceived to believe. But Conscious Chatter is a podcast that I've listened to sort of on and off, and I really like sort of what they talk about. They find all of those very interesting designers, and I really like how they talk about sustainability, because it isn't doom and gloom. Like they actually have sort of the look at the bright side of it, and they're very inspiring, so I would highly recommend them. And the second one is The Green Dream.
That's a nice name.
Yeah, I think it's Dana Thomas. We're going to link it in the show notes. But she also wrote a book called Fashionipolis, which I would highly recommend. And I think like everyone should read it, just like watching this documentary. I read this book when it first came out, which is a while back. And I need to check if I still have it, because if I do, I'm going to lend it to you.
Okay.
But it's sort of an attack on fashion industry, and really well written. She also goes into the third world countries, so you kind of talk to the people behind the clothes that we wear. It's a very interesting journey that she takes you on, and I think like every consumer should read that as well. And yeah, really like rethink your relationship with fashion industry.
Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed that. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and if there's anything that you're doing to help you be a little bit more conscious and sustainable.
And also like when you end up watching the documentary, let us know your thoughts.
Yes.
I would love to hear.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.